Further, this particular diagram is quite different from the earlier diagram that we have discussed just now. It's quite different. Different in a sense like it shows a different case for a monopolist. Again, recalling on the important conditions for a monopolist to be in equilibrium, that means according to the total cost, total revenue approach, which is the MC equal MR, the his MC must cut his MR from below, so on and so forth. So looking at this particular diagram, what do we see or what do we get? Yes, it shows, yes, the OX as usual represents output, the OY represents the price. We have this AR curve, which is also demand curve, which is a downward sloping curve, and also the MR curve, which is again a downward sloping curve. We also have another two curves, that is the MC curve as well as the average cost curve. We need to search for a point where MC equal MR, which is a very important condition for a monopolist to be in equilibrium. Yes, looking at both the two curves, this MC and this MR curve, they are equal to each other at point E. Okay, and like what we did earlier, from the point E, that is from the point of equality between MC and MR, we extend or we drop perpendiculars downward towards the output axis, we extend upwards towards the AR curve in order to obtain the price. So after doing that, after dropping perpendiculars downwards and extend upwards, what happened was we can see that this monopolist is producing OQ as output and charge QA or OP as the price. And again, like what I've been telling you, we need to find out what is, looking at this diagram, what does it shows? The situation of the monopolist, okay? Charging QA as the price, we really wanted to know, does this monopolist enjoy a profit or did he incur a loss? Okay, so in order to get that, we need to find out his average cost. How much is his average cost? Okay, so looking again at this very diagram, we can see this average cost curve, it's here in this particular position. So it shows this monopolist is producing OQ as output. How much is his average cost? QA is his average cost. Because why? This is his average cost curve. So producing OQ as output, again charging QA or OP as his price, his average cost is equal again to QA, which means under this situation, the monopolist neither enjoying profit or incurring a loss. And under such a situation, this monopolist, he's been enjoying only normal profits. That means there is no profits, there is no loss. Because why? The price or the average revenue just equal the average cost when he produce OQ as the output and charge OP as the price. Thus, it did indicates this particular situation where a monopolist is enjoying only normal profit. Further, looking at the third diagram, okay, I think you can see it in your exercise copy. It is a diagram that I've already sent it to you. This third diagram portrays a different situation of a monopolist. It's quite different from the first two diagram. Different in a sense like in what way? Okay, so before we go on with the looking at the situation of the monopolist, let's have a look at the different curves that we have in this very diagram. Again, as usual, the downward sloping curve, that is the AR curve, the MR curve, they are both downward sloping. We have the MC cost curve, we have the AC cost curve, which are U-shaped. The point of equality between MC and MR, it did occur at point E. Okay, and from the point of equality between MC and MR, we extend perpendiculars towards the output axis, giving us OQ as the output. Extend, we extend upwards to meet the AR curves till here. Okay, which means this monopolist, he's been producing OQ as output at a price equivalent to QA or OP. Okay, he's been producing again how much of the output, OQ as output, and charge QA as the price or OP. How do we get that? It is from the point of equality between MC and MR. We drop downwards, we extend upwards towards the MR curve, towards the OX axis. So giving us OQ as his output, QA as the price or the AR. We want to search, we want to know how much is his average cost. Okay, now let's have a look. Where is his average cost? His average cost is somewhere here. Okay, somewhere in this particular area. Okay, which means he did produce OQ as his output, charging QA as the price. His average cost, how do we get that? It is we extend upwards again towards the AC cost curve. Okay, so this monopolist, he's been producing OQ as output at what price? QA as a price or OP. How much is his average cost? His average cost is QB. And again, just by looking at this very diagram, what we can easily conclude is that his average cost QB or BQ is greater than his average revenue or the price AQ, which means what happened? This monopolist, he's been incurring a loss, okay? And he did incur a loss of AB per unit. And if we multiply this loss per unit AB, multiply with the total output as what we did earlier, AP or QO is the same, which is his output. If we multiply this area with this area, we get the area BAPC, this total box. And this box, this area, BAPC, represents the loss that are being incurred by this monopolist. And as such, this diagram shows that the monopolist, he is incurring a loss after producing OQ as output and charge QA as a price, and his loss is equivalent to ABCP. So this is a situation, this figure that depicts that this monopolist is incurring a loss. Okay, so yes, according to the marginal cost, marginal revenue approach, it says that a monopolist will be in equilibrium when he maximizes profit, when his MC equal MR, when his MC cuts MR from below. And yes, after fulfilling those important conditions, what we can see is that looking at the earlier diagram, the first diagram, what we can see or what we can get is under the first situation, the monopolist is enjoying supernormal profit. And under the second situation, that is relating to the second diagram, this monopolist, he's been enjoying normal profits. Whereas relating to this third diagram, this monopolist, he is incurring a loss.